welcome to another exciting video from Gobbler Ridge Farms. Now, as you can see through the opening of this video, I have a lot of trees in the orchard, and in order to protect them from the white-tailed deer, which we have a lot of in the area of the state that I live in, and they walk by and will eat anything and everything that's not tied down. If you ever seen what goats can do to an area, well, deer do the same thing, only there's nobody fencing them in. So what I have to do is fence them out of my fruit trees. This here is one of my Jonah Mac apple trees, and as you can see, I put 4 T-posts around that. And every apple tree that I have, and I've got a chestnut orchard as well, it's starting to get very expensive to put 4 T-posts per tree at nearly $5 a piece plus tax and the cost of the fencing material. That's nearly $20 per tree, and I've got somewhere in the neighborhood, or we'll have almost 400 trees. That's more money than I want to spend on fence posts. So in keeping with the homesteading theme and some of the bushcrafting things and all that I do, I'm going to try to use the resources off the land, and let's see if I can maybe make some homemade fence posts that'll last long enough to get the trees above the deer's mouths. So come with me and let's go see what we can do. Now what I have here is a very small, maybe 4-inch diameter at the most, tulip tree that I cut down to give some sunlight to a little garden patch that I have in the back. Now I've let it dry out, and it's already started checking and cracking in certain areas, but as I go to split this log, I want to make sure that it doesn't, follow any twist or work around any knots. So I'm going to take the old trusty Ryobi 18-volt saw, and I'm just going to give a little scoring line down the center of that tree so that when I split it, it splits the direction I want it to. So let's go give it a little help here. Okay, that should, when I start putting the wedges in, that should help it kind of split a little more evenly so that I can come up with about 4 fence posts, which should do 1 tree by my math. I graduated 6th grade, trust me. Okay, this tree is a lot longer than what I'm going to need for my fence post, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it that way because I can trim it up later and get it to the right height. And just in case it splits in an odd direction, I've got enough leeway to maybe get cut it a little differently to make sure I have enough length to get a fence post out of it. So it's a little oversized right now, but we'll fix that in a minute. I'm going to take my wedges, go into that little saw cut that I just made a moment ago, and start splitting this thing apart. All right, now that I've got my daily dose of exercise and I've split this log into 2 pieces, I'm just going to go back and do the same exact thing, split it into quarters, and I should have enough for 1 tree. So let me go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, like I said, rinse, lather, repeat. So I just did the same thing on the 2 halves and made 4 quarters now out of this pole. You can see they kind of split at slightly different places. That's why I left my log longer than what I really needed. Now I'm just a little bit over 6 feet tall, so what I'll do is I'll then take these sections, measure up about 6 feet, go a little longer because I'm going to drive it into the ground, and I'm just going to take and cut it off at that point and kind of even these things up. Okay, as you can see, I now have a nice sharp point to drive into the ground, and, well, let's see. Whoop, hey, trust me, it's a little over 6 feet tall now. Hey, it could be a bushcrafting video. Hang on. Okay, these are gonna have a lot of splinters on them. The other thing, they're checked up, so I don't want to really be driving this with a sledgehammer, an axe, or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and use my T-post driver. So I want to make sure that it'll fit down in there nicely. I did have some that were a little big. I kind of eyeballed it when I first started out, and I wedged it up inside the T-post driver. So I check my fit right here before I get out in the field and wind up with a stuck stick. In the event that I do have to do any trimming, I just put it up on this log and I trim off the corners. And sometimes, just to make sure it doesn't splinter, I'll go ahead and take off these edges just like I would on one of my carvings, so that it doesn't give the stick a place where it can start to splinter and drive those splinters down. The impact area is going to be a little more in the heartwood, and it's not going to be able to grab those edges and splinter it off, a lot like if you were doing some type of a wood carving situation. Now, this one right here, sharp on this end. This end fits up into my T-post. It's good to go. I'll throw it on the stack with the others and finish out the remaining 3. Aha, this one's going to need a little trimming. Yeah, that ought to work. Okay, now that I've trimmed a length, sharpened one edge, and made sure that the top goes into my T-post driver, we're ready to put these out in the field and go start protecting some trees. All right, I put a couple in yesterday. It's just a matter of putting the T-post on top of it and driving it in the ground. No different than putting up a regular T-post. So let me take you out there and show you what that looked like. Okay, this is what the finished product looks like. I put these up yesterday, and I don't know what you could see out in the background behind me on some of the other cages I have, but The deer have been coming up over the top of my cages, almost like climbing in the little rectangular squares of the fence. They'll grab the central leader, pull that over the top of my cage, bend it down and break it, and then they strip all the leaves off of it. So if I don't get enough central leaders tall enough, I'll never get a crop out of these things in the next 10 years. So as you can see, I've greatly expanded this, and I've taken one of the limbs down there and I've tied it up trying to train a new central leader. So trying to make the cages bigger and save 20 bucks a tree at the same time by using some of the wood off the homestead. Took me less than an hour to do 4 fence posts at $5 a piece times 4, 20 bucks a piece. I just paid myself basically $20 an hour. Now I can afford to go out to eat. Okay, it doesn't work that way, but I did save some money here that I would have spent otherwise, and I think I have a little better protection on the tree now. So there's a little quick homestead hack. Look for some opportunities to make your own fence post, save yourself some cash. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see all you turkeys on the next one.